Mineral Trade Information Bulletin, November 2016. Published in January 2017. Canada's 2015 mineral trade balance. $16.2 billion. Trade in mineral commodities, which include ores, concentrates, and semi- and final fabricated mineral products, has long been a substantial contributor to Canada's international trade position, and this trend continued in 2015. Mineral exports of $92 billion accounted for 19.1% of the country's total merchandise export value, and mineral imports of $79.5 billion accounted for 14.9% of Canada's total merchandise import value. Canada's mineral trade balance grew year-over-year by 18.2% to $16.2 billion due to a greater gain in the value of exports, 3.2%, than imports, 0.6%, in 2015. Figure Trade by country. The United States continued to be Canada's largest trading partner for mineral commodities, accounting for 54.9% of exports and 49.6% of imports in 2015. The European Union, EU, 19.9%, China, 5.0%, and Japan, 3.3%, were the next most significant destinations for Canada's mineral exports. Together, these trading partners accounted for over 80% of mineral exports. In terms of mineral commodity imports, after the United States, China, 10.8%, the EU, 9.9%, Mexico, 4.7%, Peru, 3.5%, Brazil, 2.0%, and Argentina, 1.8%, ranked as. With the diversification of the country's trading partners, Canada's share of mineral commodity exports destined for the United States experienced a steady decline between 2000, 77.1%, and 2012, 48.2%. Early results suggest this trend has since been reversing, as the United States now accounts for 54.9% of total mineral exports. China's share decreased from 5.6%, $5.2 billion, in 2014 to 5.0%, $4.6 billion, in 2015, which is the first decline since 2000, when its share was just 1. This decline can largely be attributed to a slowdown in the growth of China's economy and an ongoing transition from manufacturing to domestic consumption and services, which now accounts for a larger share of the country's gross domestic product, GDP, than the industrial sector does. Canada's mineral commodity exports to other emerging economies, including India, Mexico, Indonesia, and Brazil, have increased substantially over the last decade. India continues to be an important destination for Canada's mineral commodities, with exports valued at $1.7 billion in 2015. Gains for diamonds and gold contributed significantly to the 32.9% increase recorded over 2014. Other key export destinations were Botswana, where diamond exports grew 12.4%, and Argentina, where Canadian exports of uranium and thorium experienced a 206.7% increase, resulting from the country's developing nuclear power plants for electricity generation. A diversified portfolio of destinations for Canada's mineral commodities mitigates market concentration risks. However, producers face competition to supply growing foreign markets across the globe. Table 1 provides mineral commodity export and import values for Canada's leading trade partners in 2015. Balance of trade. Canada's balance of trade footnote 2 for mineral commodities increased to $16.2 billion in 2015 after having dropped slightly in 2014 to $13.7 billion. The country's mineral commodity trade balance remained strong as Canada continued to maintain substantial trade surpluses with the United States, the EU, Japan, Hong Kong, and Norway. Alternatively, imports from China, Peru, Mexico, Argentina, and Chile exceeded Canada's exports to these countries. Table 1. Non-metallic products. Canada's export value of non-metallic products advanced significantly by 17.6% to $15.5 billion in 2015. This was the result of gains for a large number of non-metallic products, most notably for potash and potassium products, where exports increased 31.2% to $6.9 billion with a 3.4% volume increase from 2014. Exports of cement, $854 million, increased 36.3% in value and 25.3% in volume. There were also significant increases in the value and volume of sulfur, sulfur compounds, peat, and titanium oxides, salt and sodium compounds, chlorine and chlorine compounds, and mineral pigments all saw a decrease in volume, but an increase in value. Conversely, diamonds, which is among Canada's most valuable non-metallic exports at $2.4 billion, experienced declines in both value, -6.3%, and volume, -8.1%. The value of non-metallic product imports increased for the sixth consecutive year, in 2015 by 8.6% to $12.6 billion. As in previous years, most non-metallic product groups experienced year-over-year gains. Notable increases included glass and glassware products, which were up 14.4% to $3.2 billion, and phosphate and phosphate compounds, which experienced a 15.5% increase to $959 million. The bulk, 89%, of the non-metallic product imports value resulted from semi- and final fabricated products, stages 3 and 4. Coal and coke products. Exports of metallurgical coal, coking coal used to produce iron and steel, and coke products decreased significantly in both volume, -10.2%, and value, -16.3%, in 2015. This decrease was driven by the shutdown of a number of coal mines in Western Canada, in the face of a downward trend in metallurgical coal prices since 2012. Exports of thermal coal, used to produce electricity, decreased 28.4% in volume while their value decreased 30.9%. Imports of total coal and coke products experienced a decrease in volume, -2.5%, but an increase in value, 7.0%. Trade by province and territory. As in the past, the majority of Canada's mineral commodity trade flowed to and from Ontario and Quebec in 2015, Table 4. The two provinces accounted for 47.3% and 22.7% of exports, respectively. Similarly, Ontario accounted for 59.7% of imports and Quebec for 15.0%. This is a function of large portions of mine outputs being processed in these jurisdictions before export and the prevalence of manufacturing industries. It also reflects the importance of these two provinces as key entry points for Canadian mineral commodity imports due to geographic proximity to large consumer markets. Mineral commodity exports represented a significant proportion of total exports for many provinces and territories. They accounted for nearly all exports from the Northwest Territories, 95.8% from Yukon, and over 25% from British Columbia. The balance of trade for mineral commodities in each jurisdiction was mixed. Alberta, Manitoba, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Ontario posted trade deficits. British Columbia, Newfoundland and Labrador, the Northwest Territories, Nunavut, Prince Edward Island, Quebec, Saskatchewan, and Yukon all posted trade surpluses. All jurisdictions except New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Ontario, and Saskatchewan had trade surpluses in Stage 1, mineral extraction, and Stage 2, smelting and refining, once again highlighting Canada's strength in upstream activities and primary processing. Note: information in this bulletin was current as of November 1, 2016.